Hello and welcome back. So I'm just gonna list some of the things I've trained. I consider those hands-on training, even though some might, yeah, they also include some coaching things, but I wouldn't put it into the metaphysical realm. I'm gonna make a whole series of videos about that. I've already done a few on the Modern Mystery School, University Metaphysical Science, Eden and Barbara Brand, but there's so much more that I studied later on or while I was doing the hands-on work. But the next videos are going to be, and it's going to be a long series, and some might not be so interesting, but I believe that's how I learn, and I like to hear people's stories. I learn through stories, and also it gives people an idea of what they might experience. So I will share the class I've taken, the experience, if there was a somato emotional release or like a significant experience, so people can see, oh, okay, so it's not just the hands-on, but there's a connection to the conditioning, like what we have experienced in life. Okay, so the hands-on training include massage license, just so I could take all the other trainings. And then while I was in massage school, I took the training Baby's First Massage. I do not believe they offer that anymore. I think that was in 2012. So I took the training Baby's First Massage. I still have some of the booklets for parents, but with all the other things I've trained, I kind of integrate some of the things and I can show parents some massage techniques, but there are other things I've trained over the following decade. And then I also took a training to become a birth doula. I have not worked as a doula. I took the whole training. I was just curious about birthing in the US, the experience, the hospitals, the birth center, home birth. So I took that training. I had a crazy personal anxiety, somato emotional release happening afterwards. I'm going to talk about it once I go into detail about the different trainings. And then I trained, obviously, the Upledger craniosacral therapy. I went all the way to advanced 2. I've taken many of the other classes, and I'm going to share those individual. I'm going to talk about each class, what it's about, what we learn in those classes, because sometimes there are people that take one class and they think they know it all, and that would be like a kid in kindergarten learning the alphabet and telling everybody, oh, I finished university. So there's always something to learn. We're not sitting in those other classes just contemplating what we learned in CS1. So I also did some biodynamic training with the Craniosacral Therapy Educational Trust in the UK, which was formed by Michael Kern, who is that the name? I hope I get it right. Anyway, so biodynamic, which is a little bit different from Upledger craniosacral training, but even the Upledger craniosacral training becomes more biodynamic as you go further in your trainings. And then I trained with the Barral Institute, which is another French osteopath, Jean-Pierre Barral, and the whole curriculum under the same umbrella as Upledger craniosacral therapy, which is the IAHP.com. That's where you can also find a therapist, and each training we have taken is listed under our profile, so you can't make up stuff. They put it on there, so you can really see what has someone trained. I'm also a certified teaching assistant with the Upledger Institute. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later on. So with Barral Institute, I train in visceral manipulation, visceral vascular manipulation. As the word says, visceral is our organs. Visceral vascular is the vascular system that brings the blood and takes the blood away from our organs. Neuromanipulation, which is, yeah, some of the things a little bit similar to Upledger craniosacral work, but again, it's all under the manual osteopathic umbrella. So neuromanipulation is manipulation of the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system, which is very gentle. You never want to get into a fight with the nerve. I also studied with the Chickley Institute, Dr. Chickley, French doctor and osteopath, who used to be part of the IAHP or IAHE umbrella. In the beginning, I had taken one of his lymph classes, and that gave me a step into like training later on with him once he created his own institute. So he left the Upledger and IAHP umbrella and created his own institute, Chickley Health Institute or Chickley Institute. I love Dr. Chickley. His classes are amazing. He teaches to the DOs, the doctors of osteopathy in the US, and then he teaches to us who are not doctors. So in the end, we're studying the same things. It's just, we're not medical doctors. But I'm not here to prescribe anything or diagnose. Again, I do not ever diagnose. If I find something, I share it. That's just, what comes up. But it doesn't mean it's a diagnosis. You always want to see your healthcare provider, your physician. So Chickley Institute, I went through the whole brain curriculum, and there are other classes of detoxing, allergy, reflexes, the eyes. And as I'm going on in my upcoming videos, I'll talk about each class, and I will also put a link, or if I can share it, some of the videos, because Dr. Chickley has amazing videos on YouTube with clients and examples, so you can see those things. I took a lymph class with the D'Ambrosio Institute. It's also under the umbrella. And then in 2019, I thought, well, what else could I do? And I took the training with the National Academy of Osteopathy in Toronto, Canada, which is Canadian style or European style manual osteopathy. So you are a manual osteopathic practitioner. It's not a DO. So I always have to mention I am not a medical doctor, not a DO in the US. You can only be a DO if you're an osteopath, but I'm a manual osteopathic practitioner because I've studied all the manual parts, or a lot of the manual components. So I did that in 2019. Took my final exam in 2020, 3 days. That was during the pandemic, and I wrote a master thesis. My project is on, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but I spoke about dentistry, orthodontist, and cranial osteopathy and the importance. Yeah, and that's for the hands-on training. So my upcoming videos, and there are going to be a lot, I will talk about each training, and I will share a class, the headline, and then I will share my own experience, because it's always experiential. So there's the anatomical component. We study the anatomy, and then we go, okay, now treat it and see what comes up. And obvious for me, being with it lived and being so open, and throughout my whole life, I was just full of people's stuff. I was full of stuff, and I'm going to share some of those stories so people can understand what doctors or psychologists just say, oh, you have anxiety. Yeah, but there's more to it. It's like, why do we feel anxious? What is stuck in our body? And I had this, well, maybe because I didn't medicate myself. I never took an antidepressant. I just wanted to know, okay, what is it about? When I feel uncomfortable, I'm like, I want to know, why do I feel uncomfortable? What is it? So, yeah, I hope you're going to enjoy the journey. There are going to be a lot of videos that are coming up. Thank you for listening.